time now for our rants and raves, starting with you, Dan.
Well, I have a rant for Facebook. We could do a rant for Facebook every week, but
Yeah,
every
I
so
could get on
often they're worth doing a rant. There's a terrific story in the New York Times Magazine by John Herman that shows how the mysterious world of partisan political memes work. Those are those obnoxious posts from content providers with names like Occupy Democrats and Make America Great. Well, it turns out that they were created specifically to game the Facebook system and promote sharing in a way that guarantees maximum exposure, even more so than with legitimate news sites. And if you're one of the tiny number of people who actually click, you see some ads and the perpetrators of these memes make some money.
It's all those things that ask you to say amen, all of those pictures of the children with cancer, they are all clickbait. And people, I looked at that web every day, somebody passing it on, cut and paste. By the way, don't ever do it. Don't cut and paste.
No, don't
say amen. Don't pass on the pictures of the cancer children. Don't do it.
And of course, it's set up in a way that if you're a liberal, you're more likely to see left-wing memes, and if you're a conservative, you're more likely to see right-wing memes. It's a mess.
Callie.
So I just noted a small thing, but I think it speaks volumes about morning newscasts. This is my hobby horse I get on. Natalie Morales of the Today Show is leaving the Today Show, going out to do entertainment tonight. And Billy Bush is coming, who was from to take her place. But she was a news anchor for the show, and she will no longer be the news anchor. They will no longer have a news anchor. They're now going to have Matt Lauer, Savannah Guthrie, or whomever do the news from where they're sitting. Nothing wrong with that, except that they long ago went to, at 7:15, they're already into entertainment. So at least you knew if Natalie read some news, you might get some red news. People go to CBS this morning where they're not, nobody's has a news anchor, they're all reading the news, they're all talking about stories. I mean, it's just disgusting, the trend. Same thing on ABC, they just keep rattling on with entertainment at 7:01 when the show starts.
But the Today Show has the cutest little black lab puppy on the set.
Yeah, well, there you go.
There
you go. That's news, though. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Josh.
This is in some ways analogous to what you were just talking about, Callie. BuzzFeed is a site that, of course, came into existence with quizzes and listicles and very light fare, the lightest of light fare. But several years ago, they decided they were going to invest in news. They hired a lot of great journalists. BuzzFeed, I think, has done some of the very best political reporting this cycle. They do terrific work. So the bet with BuzzFeed was always, maybe this is how news happens in a digital context. You have the entertainment side, and it sort of cross-subsidizes the news side. Well, I don't want to say this is a rant because it's more of a point of concern, but BuzzFeed this week announced that they were going to be dividing the company into two divisions, news and entertainment. And the video division was going to be going with the entertainment division. Basically, you can interpret it a number of ways. Some people in BuzzFeed say this isn't a big deal, but it sure looks a lot like you're separating out the news piece, which just costs you money, it doesn't make you money, making it a little bit easier to eventually reduce the amount of resources or spin it off or do something else with it. I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that they continue to have some success. They had some revenue problems this past year, but it's a point of concern.
Yeah. All right, John.
I have a rave for NPR, which is dropping comments off its website. And they're not turtling because they don't want to hear from their readers, viewers, listeners, I should say. They're engaging with most of them these days through Facebook and other social media platforms where, maybe not Twitter, but on Facebook, you have to register using your real name. So there's a little bit of a screen to screen out the trolls and the cretins. And they pointed out in their announcement of this that something like 4% of the visitors to the site account for a huge percentage of the comments. And this is, I think, true across the board in online comment threads, where it's just a handful of nutbags and losers and trolls who are generating all this garbage. I wish more media organizations would step up to the plate and clean the waste off their picture window.
Okay. Well, finally said, I have a rave for Jack Sullivan of Commonwealth Magazine, who frankly has dared to question some of the reporting by the Boston Globe on Brian Joyce and whether he failed to pull the proper permits to do some remodeling and other things with his house. And basically, Jack has discovered that all three of the town selectmen or town assessors, they say that he didn't do anything wrong. Now, there's some dubious, questionable stuff about what was printed in some brochure for the sale of the house versus what the house is actually like. But this takes a little bit of guts because, I mean, Brian Joyce is not a sympathetic character to begin with, and to sort of question, well, is this totally accurate? I just give him credit for even taking a second look at it. So good luck. Good work, Jack. All right, that is it for our show. Tell us what you think. Email us, tweet us, or leave a comment. We're always on at beatthepress.org.